Yeah. So, yeah, one of the first things I wanted to talk about is like the impact of international collectors and investors, like in sports cards and probably cars in general. I guess it's like the past, now, and then what do you expect in the future? Because I remember when I was first getting in, I mean, I would buy off eBay. Well, I guess I started with StockX, and then I started buying off eBay. And there were people who were like from China who had really nice cards.
Yeah,
I remember buying and selling from people
yeah,
from
all over the
Russia.
place.
And probably through 2019, 2020, I mean, people bought from Israel, on literally, I think Honduras. And then also seeing listings of people, obviously Canada and all over the place. So I wonder, like, how much is it like international, like, is pumping up the market versus not?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually did after you mentioned that in one of the comments that might be a topic to discuss. And so I actually started to put together like a little script for a video about that too. So I actually did a little bit of research recently to look into a few things related to that I found quite interesting. There was this one article from eBay that was from 2021. So, that was during that time when there was a sports card spike, and some of the data is a little skewed because of the uniqueness of the time. But at the same time, like the amount of like from 2020 to 2021, the amount of eBay sales from international locations had gone up like 162%. And in particular, Australia had gone up like over 300% in that year, and China had gone up like over 200% in that year. Europe was like over 113%. And what was the other one? Canada was a 149% increase in that one year. So and that's just eBay, and like for China, for example, it's gone up by 200% on eBay, but eBay is actually a really small piece of the Chinese sports card market thing. It's because
Mhm.
it's US based, and it hasn't really made its way into China. So, people who are doing it from eBay, they're going to have to deal with all the international shipping and stuff. So within domestically in China, the Card Hobby website is massive. I was looking to see how many cards are up for sale at any one given time. Like right now, when I was looking it up at that moment, it was more than 60,000 sports cards, not even including the non-sports cards, were up for sale, up for auction right at that moment. Some of them, ending a week away, or some of them ending like an hour away or a few minutes away. And that's just the domestic market. So I think it's really, the Chinese market is really quite vibrant. I don't know what that compares to eBay, but eBay, of course, is like super international, and includes the US market as well as a lot of the stuff happening in Australia or Canada, or a lot of other places. But I think it's just a small piece of what's happening in China. So I think it's really fascinating to think about what the international market is doing and could continue to do to the sports card market in general long term. I think there's a lot of things, a lot of points to consider. One is when a lot of people reflect on the direction, like the sports card value momentum, how it's developing, how it's building, they'll reflect on different macroeconomic factors, but very frequently the focus is very US centric, which is, looking at the recession, everything going on right now with the US economy. So there's a lot of reflection on that. And I think a very large percentage of the sports card market is US. So it absolutely affects that in big ways. But I feel like with some of the sports that are more international, and as they become more international, I think the macroeconomic factors at a more global scale are going to become kind of more and more important to the equation. I think they're already a little bit important to the equation, but I think they're only going to become more so, especially in like basketball and soccer, which are very international oriented. Baseball, American football, those are a bit more US specific. And I think, like outside of the US, it's kind of maybe some little niche things here and there, but soccer and basketball are pretty global.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about. So as a kid, I actually spent more time like in the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And obviously, I mean, listen, all collectibles have gone up. I recently was talking to someone who's I think they're a physician at Yale. And they were telling me like plants were going up. Like literally, they were at 2021. There were plants that were selling for $5,000, and now I guess the plant market crashed. There's some plants that are $5,000 are now selling for $50. But
that's fascinating.
So for Yu-Gi-Oh, let's say Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, for example, the English cards are the ones that are going up the most. And are worth the most money. There are some Japanese cards that are going up, but it's mostly like the English cards. There's French and German and stuff like that, but they don't have the rise of like the English cards, and most likely is because of the American market. I guess I agree with the soccer and basketball being like long term, because another sport is UFC, just because it's the fastest growing international sport. And then a lot of the champions are from other countries. And I think all it takes is for a country that maybe not into the sport, but then you have a champion who's dominant, who maybe looks like you, same culture, that talks like you and everything. And they have a relatable story for them to kind of get into it. But
I think that happened a slight bit in China with UFC. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Yeah. I think it was Zhang Weili. She was the women's strawweight champion, but she lost to Rose Namajunas, and then she just beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Some of these people, their names are very hard to pronounce, but she can actually win the strawweight championship again, and she could be one of the best fighters ever. But yeah, there's a growing pool of people who are getting interested in China. One thing though, I like, so when it comes to soccer, for example, a lot of these people who I feel like are buying up foreign players are mostly Americans though, and they're more so trying to like prospect. Because I think in Europe stickers are more popular, but I guess there's two things. One, the soccer card market is still newer. Like the more established markets, from what I'm seeing, is baseball has been pretty established now. And football and basketball have kind of like are starting to enter where baseball is in a sense and become an established market. Because when I went to the National last year, people were like, a lot of old dealers were surprised that basketball is worth so much, and how much it really went up, and how people prefer basketball over baseball. And I think it's like more of a generational thing. But like, I wonder, will stickers be like more interesting, not just for soccer, but also for basketball as well? Because they have a few sticker releases in a sense as well. I know Luka Doncic has like a sticker, or rookie kind of sticker for his rookie year.
The most valuable, I bet, at this point.
Yeah, like so I wonder, like in the future, maybe not in the next couple of years, because I mean,